Okay guys, I hope we're all doing well. I hope we're all grammatically a little bit better than we were maybe 2 videos before this. Today we're going to look at the Aimsir Fháistineach, the future tense, which is probably the easiest out of all the tenses. I suppose when it comes to the Aimsir Fháistineach, the future tense, it would be very similar to the Aimsir Láithreach in the fact that you're just adding endings onto the verb, and the reason why that it's simpler is there's a lot less endings to learn. You'll also won't use it as often, so you don't have to be as good as this. The present tense, the Aimsir Láithreach, is the most important tense because that is your language of discussion. So, enough of me talking, let's actually go and look at the Aimsir Fháistineach. So the Aimsir Fháistineach, you've got your workbook here, you probably have a coloured version. My colour printer went on strike today, so I have this dull version. The colour version makes it look a lot better. Let's go, Lánach Irregular, page 2. Let's have a look at the bullet points here very quickly. So on Aimsir Fháistineach, we add endings to the verbs just like the Aimsir Láithreach. We must check if the verb is 1 or 2 syllable. Now obviously on Céad Réimhne we're dealing with just 1 syllable verbs, then we'll deal with 2 syllable verbs, and then we'll throw a mix in at the end. So we're dealing with 1 syllable verbs. We check if the verb is broad or slender. Broad is leathan, quail is slender. And what we do is, as we've already said before, we check the last vowel in the verb and then we know which ending to use. With this it's really simple. When we're asking a question we use on plus an uru, and when we're doing a negative statement we use ni plus a shevu. So on plus an uru for a question, ni plus a shevu. What if there's no uru for the letter I'm using? Well then it stays the same. So on plus an uru only for the letters that actually take an uru. B, C, D, F, G, P and T. Alright? So they're the letters that will take an uru in Irish. Let's have a look at the examples. We have an ending that's for may to, she, she, mid and she. So for the Aimsir Fháistineach, I have a dirty board here. My fault, I should have cleaned it. Aimsir Fháistineach. On Céad Réimhne. Here, very simply, we've got an ending for may to, she, shiv and she. That's all the same. When it's leathan, it's F-A-I-D-H. For the mid ending when it's leathan, F-A-I-M-I-D. And for this one, for the breather ser, far, F-A-R. To make them slender, for these two you just take off the A. For this, you add in an E. So they're your endings, very simply. And you can see the endings are written down there on the bottom of page 2. And not only that, if you go to page 3, there's a space there for you actually to fill your endings in. All you're doing in that space is filling in the ending. So may, F-A-I-D-H, to, F-A-I-D-H, she, F-A-I-D-H. Why am I getting you to do that? Because if you're not familiar with these, writing them out once will help you, getting that kind of muscle memory going. That's the idea there. So you can fill in the endings there on page 3. And after we do that on page 3, we're going to go to page 4, and we've got 15 examples that you're going to work through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that off the board. I'm going to prep my whiteboard to put the answers in. So you guys on page 3 are filling in the endings. Once the endings are done and you've taken a look at them, my advice would be this video is going to be shorter than the other two. It's a bit quicker. So pause the video. Try memorize these endings. Let's be honest, it's not that hard. Let's try and memorize these. And then have a go at doing 1 to 15 without any notes. All 1 syllable verbs. Should be simple enough, hopefully. Okay, off you go. I'm going to clean this board, and then I'm going to stick the answers up on the whiteboard afterwards. And again, this is exactly like the present tense, the Aimsir Láithreach. Figure out if the verb is quail or leathan, and then just stick the right ending on. Okay, I'm going to start putting these answers up. You can keep going with yours. You can check in if you want, but better off just to correct them all at the end if you are still watching the video. Okay, you've got your answers there. A couple of things to notice. You notice when I have this ending for we, do I have another one here? I should. I don't need to put the mwij in. There's no need to say mwij. Famij is how you say it. Ulfamij, you already hear it there already. For the rest of them, for the questions, on plus an uru. There's no uru for a vowel in this case, so it stays the same. No uru for an or, so it stays the same. But here, my GC, because it was a question, on plus an uru. For the negatives, it's ni plus a shevu, which I had here. I had ni plus a shevu, which we had there. Ni plus a shevu, we had here. It's a really easy tense to use because there's only literally two endings you're using. There's no briher ser there, because how often are you going to say it will be done? There might be one or two examples in the examples I put in for you, but overall, there's going to be very few times you're going to use the briher ser. Apart from maybe question 6b in your reading comprehension, when you're asked to find the briher ser in the future tense, to pick it out as an example. So there are your endings for the one-syllable verbs. Again, give yourself a mark out of 15. Hopefully you're pretty confident on that. On page 5, we're going to have a look at the two-syllable verbs. And again, this should be getting easier and easier because it's the exact same thing we've done now twice. We're conjugating the verbs in the exact same way. The only difference is that we have new endings to put in. So have a look at the endings there on page 5. When I take these off the board. Andararenu, the second conjunction, just basically means two syllable verbs. When you're dealing with the two syllable verbs rather than the one syllable verbs. We've done that before. And let's look at what our endings are going to be here. For Lahan, it's going to be O Fada IDH. For tu, me tu, she, she, shiv, and sheed. For mwij, it's going to be mwij. And for this one, it's going to be ofer. So you notice with these, there's a fada on all of them. We come over this side, and all we're doing is we put an E in front of them and drop the fada. Just like that. So there are your endings. As you can see, we still use on plus an uru for a question, ni plus a negative, ni plus ni for a negative, and you add a shevu in as well. The exact same as what we've done. You've got an example of 3 different verbs there. You have an example of a verb that's lahan, a verb that's quail, and you have uskal also, which is still a verb that is lahan, but I just put that in to show you that when it starts in the vowel, it doesn't get any special treatment there. On page 6, you've got your examples there. I've actually conjugated the examples for you because we've done that twice now. I think by this stage, after watching the videos day after day, you'll be well able to conjugate 2 syllable verbs. We've got our endings grid on page 7. That's what I want you to do, is to fill in your endings on page 7. Just go oe, they're pronounced the same way. And then we've got a couple of examples to do on page 8 together. So I'm going to prep the board from 1 to 13 while you fill your endings in for me there. Again, the idea here would be that you can do these without looking at any notes. Again, check mine once yours are done. So there's your answers there. The only one that was a bit different was number 4, fragrofer. There wasn't a person there. Sometimes when a person isn't there, you just use shade. Like if we look at the example there of number 10, creakneen on skull. The skull means it will finish. The school will finish. It will finish. However, the questions will be answered. That's the Brihar Ser number 4. Fragrofer and the Fháistineach. The questions will be answered. I don't know who's going to answer them for me tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure when I ask the class or I address the class, somebody will answer them for me. That's what the Brihar Ser means there. So there's your answers. Again, on page 9 of this handout, I've got the exact same format I've been doing the whole time. I've got about 20 verbs. Put the verbs into English in the middle section. Not the future tense version, not I will do or I will accept. Just to lose, to sweep, to learn. The verbs I would tell you to be careful with there are fáilim and freastal. They are awkward verbs to conjugate in Irish. That's why I've put them in. There's no point putting really basic ones in. I put Fháistineach and Freastal. The rest of them are all absolutely fine. Fháistineach and Freastal are a bit awkward. So if you get them wrong when you check the next page, just be wary of them. You'll be able to figure out what the rule is there. With Fháistineach, even though it's two-syllable, you take nothing away. And with Freastal, even though it finishes in AIL, you just take out the A, you keep the I. So just be wary. Sorry, you just take out the I, you keep the A. Just be wary of that. You've got all your answers down on page 10 anyway, so you don't need me to put them up on the whiteboard again. On page 11 and page 12, I've got all your future tense irregular verbs. Again, the exact same irregular verbs. They're on page 12 there. And we've got page 11 as a blank page to fill them all in. My advice to you would be, try that, do that. You can print a second copy of those notes. They're free to download. Print off 2 copies. And I would do this with all the other tenses as well. Go back and do that workbook, start to finish, without any help, without any notes at all. And if you can do that and get 90% of it right, well then you understand the tense. If you can't do that, the next stage is do it with notes. If you can formulate these verbs with notes, it means you understand it and it's important. However, if you're getting them wrong with notes, well then you should watch the video again. The final thing that I'm going to show you, or I'm going to talk about today, is how to actually figure out if you're right or wrong without a teacher ever being there. And there's going to be another little video that will accompany this. And we're going to go to a website called Chonglin. Chonglin.ie. And on Chonglin.ie, in a minute, I'm going to disappear. You'll probably be happy to know. Not forever though, I'll be back. We're going to go to Chonglin.ie and you're going to see me on the computer and I'm going to teach you how you can check if you're putting in the right ending for a verb, if you're doing things right or if you're doing things wrong, which is really important because it shows you that you don't need a teacher over your shoulder to constantly make sure your verbs are right or wrong. I'm going to show you how you can correct it yourself and how you can pick out more examples without a teacher ever being there. So next thing you're going to see, my computer screen. Listen up, we're going to go through that then. Okay, so as you can see, we've got Google open here. We're not getting any sponsorship, so you may use whatever browser you like. And what you're going to do for me then is you're going to type in Chonglin. And you click on that then. And this should bring you up to the website here. It's an orange website at the top. And what we're going to do here is we're going to learn how to actually check if our verbs are correct or incorrect. So what I want you to do is I want you to type in the verb dúshig with me, to wake up. Dúshig is the verb to wake up. And over here, we click search. What comes up is to wake, awake. It gives us all these different examples of it. What we are looking to do always is we're looking for the gramadach. So we're going to click on gramadach. And when we click on gramadach, it gives us the anam bhríomhar and the adjunct bhríomhar, which will be useful during the year right here. However, it's not what I'm looking for now. You scroll down, and as you see, you'll get the may, to, she, she, the we, the mwidge version, shiv, shid, and then the bhríomhar Sarah version down there at the bottom. And that's all in the Aimsir Catcha. So if you want to say, how do I wake up? It's, yeah, I woke up yesterday. Gúshig me, I woke up. Did you wake up? Gúshig me, did I wake up? Near Gúshig me, I didn't wake up. And if you click here on the right hand side in the drop down menu, you will see you get a choice of the present, the future, the conditional, and there's 3 other tenses there that we don't really need for Leaving Cert Irish. They're more for college level. But let's put in the Aimsir Láithreach. What do we have there? Now all of a sudden we've got the dúshiam, dúshian tu, dúshian she, dúshian she, dúshian mwid, dúshian mwid, don't use that, dúshian shiv, dúshian shid. Okay? So what I want you guys to do now is I want you maybe to check the verb fan, and I want you to find me the future tense, he will wait or he will stay. So how do you do that? You type in fan. I've already searched it before. Click on it. Press search. Usually you would be on the 4th one here, the first one there I should say, but because I've already opened this, I'm still on the 4th one. So the past tense is done, may, done to. I want to click on this and go to the future tense. And I told you he will wait or he will stay. Fan fi sé. There's my answer there. Okay, very simple. One more. Let's look up the verb to buy. Cannig. In the mo Cníleach, the I would buy something if I won the lotto. So we've got cannig. Press search. Great. Scroll down. Drop down menu. Mo Cníleach conditional tense. Cheanóing, I would buy. And what you have to remember is the most important thing is look up here. It's the basic format of the verb. The very first video I did, I gave you a list of all these verbs. You must type in the basic format of the verb, and then this website will do it for you. So if you are getting more grammar sheets from me online and you're looking for the answers or you don't know how to check them, you can check the ones you're slightly unsure of here. This website will do it for you. And that's what I said, that you'll be able to study and get better at your tenses. I'll give you the worksheets, but you can correct your own work and you don't ever need a teacher there to see if you're making progress. That's how you use the website. It's chonglin.ie. Type in the basic format of the verb. Use your drop down menu to decide what tense you want. Okay, that should be useful. Thank you.